Good evening. More areas are placed under signal number 2 as Typhoon Leon undergoes rapid intensification over the waters east of Cagayan on Tuesday, October 29. According to Pag-asa's 5 p.m. weather bulletin, the center of Typhoon Leon was last spotted 505 kilometers east of Tuguegarao City, Cagayan. It is carrying maximum sustained winds of 150 kilometers per hour and gustiness of up to 185 kilometers per hour. It is moving west-northwestward at 10 kilometers per hour. Tropical cyclone wind signal number 2 is raised in several areas of Luzon including Batanes, Babuyan Islands, mainland Cagayan, the northern and eastern portions of Isabela, Apayao, the northern portion of Kalinga, the northern portion of Abra, and Ilocos Norte. Areas under signal number 2 are expected to experience gale force winds that may bring minor to moderate threat to life and property. Signal number 1 is raised in other areas of Luzon such as the rest of Isabela, Quirino, Nueva Vizcaya, the rest of Kalinga, Mountain Province, Ifugao, Benguet, the rest of Abra, Ilocos Sur, La Union, the eastern portion of Nueva Ecija, Aurora, the northern and eastern portion of Quezon including Polillo Islands, Camarines Norte, Camarines Sur, Catanduanes, Albay, and the northern portion of Sorsogon. Strong winds that may bring minimal to minor threat to life and property are expected in areas under signal number 1. Leon is forecast to be near a super typhoon intensity during its closest point of approach to Batanes. Leon may exit the Philippine area of responsibility on Thursday evening, October 31, or by Friday early morning, November 1. The number of reported deaths due to severe tropical storm Kristine climbed to 125, according to the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council. Based on the agency's 8 a.m. situational report on Tuesday, October 29, 14 of the 125 reported deaths have been validated, while the remaining 111 cases are still subject to verification. The agency also reports that 115 individuals are injured, while 28 are missing. According to the NDRRMC's data, the affected population due to Kristine rose to more than 7 million persons, or over 1 million families. From the number of affected persons, more than 900,000 were displaced, with over 500,000 staying inside evacuation centers, while the other 400,000 persons are taking shelter elsewhere. Furthermore, the agency reports that a total of 756 areas in Ilocos, Cagayan Valley, Central Luzon, Calabarzon, Mimaropa, Bicol, Western and Eastern Visayas, Zamboanga Peninsula, Soc Sargent, Caraga, Barm, and the National Capital Region are still flooded. The NDRRMC also says that the government has so far distributed over 700 million pesos worth of assistance to affected families nationwide. Kristine exited the Philippine area of responsibility on Friday, October 25. Former Senator Panfilo Lacson believes the Senate was invaded by former President Rodrigo Duterte during the Senate probe into his administration's war on drugs. In his post on X, Lacson says the Senate was invaded by Duterte during the Senate probe, adding that it was only Senator Risa Hontiveros who consistently and steadfastly stood up to preserve the dignity of the Philippine Senate. Lacson is referring to Duterte's conduct during the Senate Blue Ribbon Subcommittee probe on the former president's drug war, dubbed as Oplan Tokhang. Nevertheless, Lacson maintains his opinion on Duterte. According to Lacson, he gives credit for the good things that Duterte has done during his term as president, but also calling the former president out when he was wrong. For instance, Lacson says he disagrees when Duterte said that it was okay for PNP to receive money from illegal gambling. Lacson further says that being consistently inconsistent as long as he fights for what is right is the trait that he learned from his parents. Meanwhile, former Senator Sonny Trillanes IV also commends Hontiveros' performance during the probe. Trillanes says Hontiveros' firm conviction in standing up against Duterte was the only bright spot of the probe. During the probe, Hontiveros called out Duterte for repeatedly spewing profanity as he explains his stance against illegal drugs, especially when police are involved. One of the hotly debated issues was Duterte's repeated pronouncement that he was taking full responsibility for the drug war policy during his time. But when Hontiveros asked if he was taking full responsibility for the death of 17-year-old Kian de los Santos in 2017, the former leader categorically said no, pointing out that guilt is personal. Senate President Cheese Escudero says the Philippine Senate has not yet received any formal communication from the International Criminal Court investigators regarding former President Rodrigo Duterte's anti-drug campaign. In a forum on Tuesday, October 29, Escudero was asked whether the investigators from the International Criminal Court could use the revelations made by Duterte during the Senate probe into his administration's war on drugs on Monday, October 28. According to Escudero, there has been no formal communication sent to him as Senate President, nor to the Senate office as a whole.
I have no idea about this ICC. I keep on reading about it, but no formal communication has been sent to me as Senate President. No formal communication has been sent to the Senate about that. And whatever I read about ICC is only from Filipinos who claim to be talking to them. Pero walang formal communication or letter from the ICC for me to actually make an educated evaluation of what they will do or where they are right now in the current situation.
During the Senate probe, one of Duterte's exposés was his admission that he ordered his policemen to encourage suspected criminals to fight back so that they could be killed. The anti-drug campaign made the former president a central figure in the International Criminal Court's investigation into crimes against humanity based on complaints filed by families of drug war victims. Senator Ronald Bato de la Rosa, who was Duterte's first Philippine National Police Chief under his presidency, was also named among the officials accused of crimes against humanity by the families of drug war victims before the International Criminal Court. 2 Chinese fishing vessels were monitored along the country's east coast within the exclusive economic zone, according to the Philippine Navy. In a press briefing on Tuesday, October 29, a Navy spokesperson for the West Philippine Sea, Rear Admiral Roy Vincent Trinidad, says they have yet to confirm further details on the exact location or the time of monitoring of the Chinese fishing vessels. Meanwhile, in his post on X, West Philippine Sea Monitor Ray Powell says that the 2 Chinese fishing boats, namely Lu Rong Yu 51794 and Lu Yan Yuan Yu 017, are currently operating off the east coast of the Philippines. Powell says the location of the fishing boats is less than 20 nautical miles from San Ildefonso Peninsula. Moreover, Trinidad reports that aside from Chinese fishing vessels, there were also boats from other countries that were monitored within the area. Trinidad notes that the presence of vessels and boats within the area is not alarming. He adds that they are already coordinating with appropriate government agencies to address the situation. According to Trinidad, they have noted an increase in the presence of maritime traffic after the severe tropical storm passed along the country. On October 15, the Armed Forces of the Philippines reported that 34 Chinese vessels were logged in 3 locations within the West Philippine Sea from October 7 to 13. The Commission on Elections files material misrepresentation charges against dismissed Bamban-Tarlac Mayor Alice Guo. Comelec Chairman George Garcia says the poll body lodged the charges before the Regional Trial Court in Tarlac on Tuesday, October 29. The filing of charges pushed through as Comelec did not receive a motion for reconsideration on its resolution to file information against Guo for violation of Section 74 in relation to Section 262 of the Omnibus Election Code. Based on the Comelec resolution, Guo declared in her certificate of candidacy that she is a Filipino citizen and a resident of Bamban-Tarlac, when in truth and in fact, she is not. The Comelec learned that the fingerprints of Guo in her voting records matched the fingerprints of a Chinese woman named Guo Huaping at the National Bureau of Investigation. Only Filipino citizens are allowed to run for public office. Aside from election offenses, Guo is facing complaints for graft, qualified human trafficking, money laundering, and tax evasion. She is likewise being investigated by Congress over her alleged links to Philippine offshore gaming operators. Guo is currently detained in Pasig City Jail. Guo's counsel previously announced that the dismissed mayor intends to run for 2025 midterm elections, even amid the charges against her. But the former mayor herself retracted this bid. The Philippine National Police reports that the index crime rate across the country has dropped by about 62% since July 2022. In a statement on Tuesday, October 29, the PNP says they recorded a decrease of 61.87% in total crime index, with more than 80,000 reported incidents from July 1, 2022 to July 28, 2024. This figure is lower compared to over 200,000 crime incidents reported in the same period from 2016 to 2018. According to police data, crimes against persons, including murder, homicide, physical injuries, and rape, decreased by about 56%. The PNP notes that they have recorded a reduction of about 12,000 in murder cases, more than 2,000 in homicides and rape incidents, as well as a decrease of about 35,000 cases of physical injuries. The police also says that there has been a decrease of about 67% in crimes against property, such as robbery, theft, and carnapping. Furthermore, the police reports a 27% increase in crime clearance efficiency and a 10% increase in crime solution efficiency. The police force also reports that their anti-drug campaign yielded 35.6 billion pesos worth of illegal drugs seized that led to the apprehension of over 122,000 individuals for drug-related offenses. According to the police, these accomplishments highlight the effectiveness of their strategies to combat illegal drug trade. The police says they will continue to implement a balanced approach to law enforcement to protect human rights, adding that their priority is public safety while ensuring that the dignity of every individual is respected and upheld. These are the stories you need to know today. I'm Neil Mercado. Follow INQUIRER.net on Facebook, X, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Reddit. For more stories, visit INQUIRER.net. Good evening.